Chim is still bleeding out, y'all. But no worries, we got his trip down memory lane coming up.
You're tuned in to AFTERBUZZ TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, y'all? You are back with the 911 After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. We are talking about Season 2, Episode 12, Chim Begins. This is all Chim. Chim. It's about Chim, okay? That's all we got for you today, okay? We gonna throw a little Queen Bassett up in there, and we got some hot news for the crew, okay? Before we get into all of that, I want to introduce you guys to my lovely new panelists.
Yay! I'm here. Hey guys, I'm Courtney Allen. I'm so happy to be here to join Porchia finally. She killed it last week.
Oh, thank you.
You did,
and yes, guys, you know me, I'm Porchia Carter. So this episode, we get all things Chim. And, you know, we was a little scared for Chim because we saw some things on a preview that just so happened to play out in this episode that wasn't that. So let's get into it, okay? First things first, we're going to talk about Chim's family because he got a lot of things going on with his parents. Then he got Kevin Lee and
Kevin's
his family. They kind of like, the Lees kind of like adopted him into the family. He used to watch Kevin when he grew up. Mrs. Lee and Chim's mother were best friends. And we find out that his mom passed while he was young, right?
And his family's the rest of his family's living in South Korea. So he's kind of just kicking it with them.
And his daddy ain't got nobody's time for him.
His dad's evil. He's like, do you want anything else? He's like, no.
He one of them daddies that, like, you know, just throw money at the situation and be out the way. Like, chuck the deuces. And I think, you know, Chim may have a few daddy issues.
He
That's
definitely
apparent.
does.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's always like, Chimney is my favorite character. So
Really?
Yeah, he's one of my...
I love Athena.
Well,
But
I really like Ken too, though. So
oh yeah, that's my girl.
So, but Chimney, like, he's like that authentic, like, amazing, kind guy who's like accepting of everybody. So the fact that his family kind of rejects him, it makes me feel bad. I'm like,
yeah, because not only does his family reject him, but we see rejection all throughout his career, all throughout his life, basically. Like so many people, like the girl, because we start out having this scene where Chim is trying to figure some things out. He's trying to find what he wants to do. And he goes to this woman named April, who's a small business loan broker. And she basically rejecting him all the time. Clearly, she say every month you come to me with something new. And now he has brought her this sleeved blanket idea.
a Snuggie.
You know, granted, Snuggies done took off in the world.
That's what I was like.
You know what I'm saying?
This like a foreshadow. Like,
so that could have been his thing. That definitely could have been his thing because it was years and years ago. This happened. This was his memory lane journey back from, 2005 when he was just getting started. So we have her with that rejection, and then his friend Kevin owns this karaoke bar, and he sings karaoke at night. And he helps people, and we get a girl walk up to the counter, and she has conversation with him. They have like this whole thing where he lets her know his, you know, career goals and all these things, other things that he's doing. And she walk away basically and bash the man. Like, I feel sorry for him. I hate to be him. And then her little boyfriend talking about, oh, you making friends with the bus boy. Like, don't do Chim like that.
Like, is it that bad? Like, he has charisma. He looks happy. Like, I didn't think it was that bad.
Do not do Chim like that. I could not believe it. I was just so appalled.
Yeah.
Because he was just so nice to her. But people stay doing him like that. And I don't understand it. Which brings me to this thing where he realizes his calling. Because obviously people don't recognize Chim until he's doing his heroic acts.
Yeah, that's true.
And which is how he got his name, because his original name is Howard, and they call him Howie for short. But they never really told us the story about the chimney and how he went down the chimney or whatever. But the 118, they know him as Chim, the current 118, as in real life, not Captain Gerard and his team, because here we go with Captain Gerard again.
Evil.
And we know Captain Gerard from Chim begins. We had a Chim begins moment a couple of episodes back in this season. And we see how he acted to Hen. He treated her so disrespectful, made her clean up everything just the same way that he's doing Chim now in this episode. So we kind of get like, this man is known for being an a-hole, basically.
Yeah, and now we see why when Hen was going through it, he was so understanding. Because you were like, oh, he's so
You get
nice.
so much background.
Yeah,
because
you really see.
how he has been there before. He's been there before. He's been through the Captain Gerard BS. So before we get to Captain Gerard, so they have this little blow up at the bar, at the karaoke bar. His friend just so happens to have somebody who is a bartender and wants to do tricks. You know, we get bartenders that be on them tricks and stuff.
Always.
But this fool right here had no business doing what he was doing, and he lit somebody all the way up, talking about set a whole girl on fire. And lo and behold, Chim puts out the fire. And then he got this big adrenaline rush, like, wow, this is something I feel like I'm called to do. Because after it happened, he no longer had this rejection feeling. Everybody was surrounding him, and they just like, Chim. Everybody clapping. Everybody's so excited. He was eating it up.
He really was. He was literally like, all the girls were in his face. That girl came back and kissed his cheek. I'm like, girl, it's too late for that. After you just trash talked him.
Yeah.
It's too late. We don't want you anymore.
How do you feel about the transition from him going from rejection to being a hero? Because I kind of thought that was going to change his ego a little bit, and he was going to be out here just, pulling all the girls, talking about he a firefighter, but he didn't do that. Yeah, he was really genuine.
Yeah, I didn't think that he was going to do that. I just felt like that was just like the boost of confidence that he needed to like do something, maybe. Like do something that,
to push forward. Yeah,
that's what I felt. Did you think that you thought he was gonna be like out of control?
No, you know what? Because he's not out of control now, I didn't think that he would be out of control, but I thought that he was going to use his career goals as leverage now. Okay. Like, I'm a firefighter, I save lives, like, you want this. Basically that type of thing. Because that's how they was making him feel when that happened. And even when they had the dinner at the table with the Lees, Mrs. Lee was like, you're a hero. And he was like, I just did what I need to do in the moment. She was like, right, a hero. That's basically what it means, And I thought that he would take, all of those accolades and, try to persuade women to like him because of it.
I don't know. Maybe he will do that eventually, though, because we haven't seen him with that many, like...
Well, we saw him with his ex-girlfriend who left him while he was in a coma.
Oh,
when the pole went through his head, and that was on season 1. So, and then in this season we kind of get their like backstory a little bit, and when they came and they had like their forgiveness talk and their release session, and she was basically letting him know, like, I felt like you weren't being true to yourself. You wasn't showing me who you really were. In a sense, I guess he was pretending to be somebody else, like this big macho man for her, I guess. And, I was thinking like maybe that was the root of what we saw today.
Huh.
But I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
That's just me throwing out a thought about it.
I never even thought about it like that. Go, girl.
Yeah.
First of all, that opinion.
No, that was just...
analyzing.
That was just, me trying to figure something out. Yeah. So, Hen gets excited. No, not Hen. Chim. Chim, yes. I'm thinking about Hen today because I didn't see her. I miss her, okay? It's been 2 episodes. She was... Last week, we saw her for a split second, but this one we didn't see her at all, so I miss Hen.
Withdrawals.
But yeah, withdrawals. So, but we see how what he went through is what we see Hen go through a couple episodes back. So, like, he's, like, living out her life, not living out her life, but living out his LAFD story the same way she did. We're getting all of the background with it. So, at the dinner table, they're sitting down. They first, Chim mentions that he wants to be a firefighter. So Mr. Lee gives him all the congratulations in the world. He like, that's a civil service. He was like, he said something. He said that's a noble, noble pursuit, and your dad would be proud. You should call him and tell him about it. So he was all excited about it. And then as soon as Kevin opened up his mouth to say he want to do the same thing, he said, "Have you lost your mind?"
Like what?
Like the double standard. What you think about that?
Do not follow your big brother. It's funny, like, because it's like that overprotective, like, I mean, obviously that's his biological son, so it's a little different. And he was trying to be supportive of Chimney, but like, he's like, I'm about to follow behind him and do this. Like, I'm not about to be stuck at the bar. Like, I feel that.
Yeah, I just think his dad, I don't know. I don't want to say, okay, you know what? Kevin is his son. Kevin is his son, so I understand. But I was just kind of feeling like, dang, like you just gonna let Chim go out here and risk his whole life and be perfectly fine with it, giving him all the praise for having this, noble pursuit. And then you hit your son with the, nah, this ain't about to happen.
But you know what? In his defense, I feel like he might have thought it was like a follow the leader type thing, because it seemed like it was Chimney's idea and Kevin just jumped on board. So he was like, this was not your calling. Like, you're just trying to out here follow him. Like, you're the one that's going to get hurt because you're following him. Like, I feel like that's what maybe he thought about it.
I'm
like
thinking like
big brother.
What if that fear is the reason why everything happened the way it did? You know what I'm saying? Like your greatest fear or what you keep thinking about eventually happens. Yeah, that's kind of sad now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so we see them after they have this conversation, they go through the training that they need to go through. And while they're in training, we see the very thing that they had to do. They're working together. The very thing that they had to do was the big shebang. They're cutting, they're sawing out squares in the roofs and letting out the fire so that they could be able to have enough room to put it out. And things like that. They're carrying people up and down stairs, working all of their muscles. And then we get to the graduation portion of the show and they get put on separate teams.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Chim on the 118. Shout out to the 118 because I love them. They're my peoples. And then we get Kevin on 133.
And that's the moment that I feel like when they did that separate thing, that's when I saw like something's going to happen to Kevin. Like when that happened in that moment, that's when I felt like he was going to die.
When I saw, you're so right. You're so right. Because when I saw them go on separate teams, then because they've been showing this preview all on social media, all over the internet. They've been showing this preview of this LAFD funeral. And I kept on saying, y'all better not kill Chim off. But lo and behold,
they did.
I put piece 2 and 2 together. Once they went separate sides, I said, okay, I can relax a little bit now. That funeral ain't going to be for Chim. It's going to be for his friend. I felt like that was a little insensitive of me to just automatically knew his friend was about to go. But I was just, like Chim, and when we look into Chim's life now in present day, we never see Kevin. We've never seen him. We've never heard about him. Nothing. So this is like all unfolding right before our eyes.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be done, which was hard. That was hard, though. That was hard. Poor
it was.
I love him so much. I hate to see him go through stuff. I really do.
Because he's so kind-hearted.
He is.
And he's so sweet. And let me tell you guys who else is kind-hearted. You guys are.
Yes.
You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for helping us become the ESPN of TV talk, okay?
Yes, guys. And if you're on YouTube right now, please hit a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate all of your views every time you watch us. Like, we love doing this. And we just want you to know that without you, none of this could be done. And we really, really, really appreciate it. So I hope you're enjoying our shows. Tell your friends and share everything that you're watching with everybody that you know.
Right. Subscribe to all of our shows because, you watch more than just 911. It's plenty of other shows and different genres that you want to click on, subscribe to them. You can turn notifications off. You good. And also, if you just so happen to be listening on iTunes, make sure you give us 5-star rating. Woo. Thank you. And then leave reviews and comments and let us know how you enjoying the talk, okay? Yes. All right. So, all things Chim. We get him at the 118, and I believe because we had this moment where we see him not working for like the first couple months and his friend working so drastically every single night. It was like I knew something was bad was going to happen to the friend because he already full force in. Like they didn't even take no like hesitation with him.
Yeah.
We see Chim come in, Captain Gerard put him on cleanup duty, made him wipe everything down, clean the dishes, mop the floors, everything. So Chim in his everyday life, while he's supposed to be on the shift for firefighting, he is literally cleaning up and trying to see how fast he can get his suit on.
And the thing is, he didn't complain one time.
He didn't.
He was like in there working hard. Like he had such a good attitude, and it was a little different from when Hen did it. Like she was like, "Nah, I'm not doing this. I'm about to give them a speech. Like I'm telling them off," which works. Like it worked for both of them. But I was like, "Dang, he's not gonna say anything." I was hoping he would, though. I was really hoping that he would stand up for himself because that wasn't cool.
Yeah, it wasn't, and I was not okay with the way, but we know how Captain Gerard is, so it's kind of like we should have expected that. But I just wasn't happy with the way everybody was ignoring him, like everybody. And then the Eli, the paramedic, who just so happened to play a very important part on this show tonight. He gave him a chance. He saw how it was going, and he gave him a chance. He like, no. He like, let me just let you know right up front that these people are the way they are because friends die in this business. Right when he said that, I knew it was about to be a sad ending. But he literally said friends die. So in order for you to earn their friendship, you have to first earn their respect. And I think he did his thing with that.
Which was a good way to look at it, because I was looking at all the other firefighters as villains when that was on. I was like, y'all are the worst. Like, y'all are supposed to be nice people. But when he gave that speech, like, I was kind of like, okay, I get it. Like, I get how that would be. Like,
because you don't want to just befriend somebody and then they pass on you just quick like that, I mean, not that you don't want to do that because you don't know what tomorrow holds. But it is kind of tricky when like, this is a level playing field, okay? Like, we got to be on one good level. Any off, anybody on the other side, like, we ain't going to be able to save you. We all trying to save other people, trying to save the civilians, and we see it all play out. And
the silent treatment was a lot, though.
Yeah, it was
a bit much.
It was. And we see Eli take him out for the whole paramedic run. And that was the nastiest thing that I've seen them do.
I'm like, did they have to keep it on a throw up scene for that long though?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I don't want to. I'm one of those people that like if I see throw up, like it makes me throw up. So I was literally like, oh God, please just hurry.
Me too. Super squeamish. Okay. That was just a lot for me. And then homeboy with the arm that was coming off, I don't know what was happening.
And then he tapped his arm. Like, he was like, and then
all the blood gushing out. I'm like, Chim, you got to get it together.
Classic.
Yes.
Classic Chimney.
And so I think that was like a turning point for him. Because now he's finally out in the field. Granted, it's not in the way that he wants to be, but he learned so many lessons. He learned so many lessons. And then Eli said one thing while he was talking to him. He said,
it was a good quote.
Yeah, it was really good. He was just like, the things that, okay, not that part. Not that part. I'm about to get to that one. Not the one in the waiting room.
No, not the deep
when
one.
He tells him the story about the 10-year-old girl.
Okay.
So Eli tells Chim this story, and he's basically like, yeah, so there was a 10-year-old girl, and, I saved her, and I passed her to the paramedic, because he was just like, he was telling Chim, like, once you get done with your job, once you rescue the people, you have to give them on to the paramedics.
Hand it
like,
off.
Your job doesn't stop right there. Like, you can't go forward from there because their lives are still in danger. And so he said that it happened to him to a point where he's seen the girl, the 10-year-old girl, he saved her, he gives her to the paramedic, and the paramedic does everything wrong and she dies. And he had a moment where he was basically, alluding to the fact that messed him up mentally. And then Chim's response to that was, so do you still get a rush out this business? And he literally told Chim, that's what I was reading. He literally told Chim, he said, I feel sorry for the lesson you're going to have to learn. And lo and behold, he had to learn a hard lesson.
Yeah.
And then he had to learn this hard lesson on his first time on the job.
Yeah, that was not when he said the thrill part, because he was like, you could tell he was trying to like get deep and like trying to like really get him to think, and then he like clapped back with the thrill.
Did you still get a thrill, a rush?
Oh God, this conversation wasn't supposed to go here.
Yeah, and I don't know what, Eli was alluding to in that moment, but I know for a fact that he had something in mind. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times we have experiences in our minds for the things that we want to share with people. And even though we share our experience, it still doesn't always get through to them.
Yeah, until
they still have to live it out on their own. Mm-hmm. It's only so much of my testimony that I could give you before you got to go do it out on your own. Because that's how it was with us growing up. Like, people telling us, don't do this, don't do that. Or you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, pouring all this wisdom and knowledge on us. And we turn around and do stuff anyway.
Yeah, no, that's hard.
And that's how I felt in that moment when Eli was telling Chim, like, okay, I feel sorry for this lesson you about to learn because obviously you ain't hear what I just said. And then, lo and behold, it happened. So Chim gets his first call from Captain Gerard to get on the train with them. And he literally says, come on, Proby, or something like that. He was calling this man Proby. He said, you too, Proby. So he's all excited. They get there to the top of the building, and they're basically doing everything that he learned in class. We see them doing the exact same thing, cutting them squares out on the top of the roof, letting the fire out. And there's a pregnant woman there who literally looks like she's in labor, and she's pregnant, and she just so happened to first while they're doing that, he see his friend Kevin Lee.
And they had a moment.
They had a whole moment.
Brother moment.
You want to know something? Why they was having that moment? I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't notice each other. Don't do it.
That's when you know it was only a matter of time.
Because I just didn't have no understanding for how it played out. But lo and behold, they see each other, they notice each other, they give each other the hands, and then they get back to work, and the lady pops up, the lady with the baby, and she just is like this close. You can't see me on the podcast, but I got my fingers like a little bit close to each other. But anyway, she like this close from stepping onto one of the squares that they had already cut out and falling straight through into the fire. And Kevin leaps over and does exactly what Chim did to help that woman in the bar that time. Like, it was the symbolism. Yeah. He literally went to tackle her to get her out of the way and sacrifice his whole life by falling right into the fire pit.
That was rough.
Tell me your thoughts in that moment, because I cried a little.
I felt bad, but I know the lady was flustered, but they were like, don't move, stay where you are. And she was literally just like, I was getting mad at her for like 2 seconds. Fault. And then I was
Let me not blame this lady.
This pregnant lady's so flustered. Like, she doesn't know what's going on. Like, I'm mean. But I don't know. I wanted to cry. I'm such a crybaby. I almost cried like 4 times. But I was like, I do not want anybody to see me crying right now. So, but I was just like, I knew that was going to be hard for Chim. Like, I knew that was going to be and I you know what I thought? I thought that his family was going to blame Chimney. Like, I didn't even think that they were really going to talk to him. I thought it was going to be...
He blamed himself. Well, they kind of did.
Yeah, the dad, yeah, but I thought it was going to be worse than that. Like, I thought that they were going to be, like, hella standoffish type at the hospital or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm glad they weren't, though. I guess they really were family. So I would
And
have been messed up.
that just goes back to what the mom said when she was like, I never seen my son this happy. Like, I knew. Like, she even told Chim not to blame himself because he led him to his purpose. If it had not been for you leading him to do something that he knew he was called to do, then that woman's life would not have been saved. Yeah. And not only that, he had been working, because, Chim was going through that stuff for months at the station, but he had already been working in the business. Yes, this might be your first, on-call duty save, but he had already been doing this, and he had been so happy, and this is all that he talks about when he comes home. So his purpose was definitely fulfilled. He saved 2 lives.
It wasn't for nothing, for sure.
While giving himself up.
Yeah.
That is so sad. I just got real sad.
He needed to hear that speech. I feel like that speech that she gave him set him free, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
You could just tell because he broke down and like in her arms. And I was like, oh, this is what he needed to hear to like move forward.
Yeah. I knew the dad would be sad because he already didn't want him to do it. Mm-hmm. He already was like, no, not my son. Hit him with the slicker side, like, have you lost your mind? And then
figure something else out. Stay at the bar. I don't care.
Here we go. Yeah, so we go through this whole sad scene of the funeral, and we see it all play out. Chim is the one carrying his 133 helmet. They saved the helmet. Wow. Okay. Chim is the one carrying his helmet, and then Chim is the one who rings the bell at the end when they are lowering him in the grave. How did you feel in those moments of seeing it all play out, of him mourning his friend?
I felt so bad. I literally, like, no one likes funerals, but,
yeah,
you know, and we were talking about this earlier, in this show, we haven't really had to deal with characters dealing with, like, deep loss or, like, the potential for them, like, getting in trouble or, like, getting in danger. It's always, like, patients that they're dealing with every day. So we're so far removed emotionally, but it's so much harder to watch them go through stuff, like, intensely. So I'm just like...
Yeah, definitely. And then Chim has been through a lot. Like when that pole went through his head, I thought he was a goner, and he made it. He definitely made it up out of that. So to see him go through this, because he has definitely been through so much. We watched him over the course of the seasons just go through all of these things with losing a girlfriend, not knowing who he really is, trying to find his spot, or, you know, trying to fit in with everybody, trying to be this person that he is for Maddie. And it's just like, he's been on like this Chim roller coaster of a life.
Yeah.
And we get insight into his background and the reason why he's so loving and caring and patient and wonderful, because he's definitely wonderful. And I was really sad for him at the funeral. I was. And when he had that moment where he was talking to, right before he was talking to Eli in the waiting room, and everything was like flashing back and forth before his eyes, I was thinking, like, I wonder if he feels like a failure. Yeah. Because he read it on his face. Like, you read it on his face. Like, it looks like he feels like a failure, but lo and behold, he's the most amazing person on the team. Like, and he just has to realize that. I think it's all in his head. Yeah, I think it's all in his head. But yeah, so
it was overwhelming.
For our last save for the day, we gotta go ahead and cue in our Queen Bassett moment. Hey. All hail to the queen. All hail to the queen. So for those of you who are listening for the first time, if you don't know what our Queen Bassett moment is, our Queen Bassett moment is when we talk all things Athena, who is played by Angela Bassett. She's so amazing in every way. On this episode tonight, you know, we didn't see everybody, okay? But we saw the queen.
Of course.
And we saw the queen doing her job. She came out there to the 118, let them know it's something going on. Somebody ain't do their job in the inside.
Taking charge.
Before they even got there, she just so happened to get as many people out of the building as she could. So all hail to the queen for her split second of however long she was on tonight's show. They had her on there like a good minute.
Yeah, they had to put her in.
A good 60 seconds. When I tell y'all something, you cannot do the 911 show without the queen. Okay? Can't do it without the queen. Oh, God. So she had her split little second of, hey, I'm here. And I was excited to see her because she's just that amazing. And to know that she has been rocking with them for this long, that was 2005.
She's
like it's mother. 2019.
She's like the mother. She's seen everything.
Yes.
Everything.
She's been doing this for so long. Shout out to the queen, okay? But in this rescue, not only does the queen make an appearance, we get Chim. He just so happened to, you know, put on his like paramedic hat. And he's, you know, looking at everybody, making them follow his finger. He giving them questions. And he finds out that there might be a gas explosion on the way. He pieced two and two together in his head. So he tells Athena, like, get everybody out here. They rally up the troops. Everybody get away from the building. So they getting everybody away from the building. But instead of him getting away from the building, he runs head first into the building. He goes and saves the very co-worker who didn't want nothing to do with him.
Tommy.
He goes and picks up Tom, because Tom done went in there and got a whiff of it, what everybody else got. The migraine and all types of stuff. He done went up in there and passed out. Chim goes in there. He picks the man up, and he's running out of the building, literally inches away from the explosion.
I was like, how is he carrying him out of this?
He practiced
he's bigger than him.
Yeah, way bigger
but
than
it's
him.
like, oh God.
He practiced it. And you want to know something? It is really like an adrenaline rush thing.
Yeah.
It's literally like when something is about to go down, your adrenaline, start rushing. You get this extra strength out of nowhere. You start thinking real smart, real fast, and you get the job done. Okay.
Yeah, he did that.
Okay. And that's exactly what he did. Chim saves the day. And then while he's sitting in the waiting room, Eli comes to him and tells him a couple words. He says, hand it off. Let's talk about this speech.
I think that that was the main thing I remembered from it, because earlier I was like, hand it off, hand it off. It's just like, you're doing the best that you can and your job's getting done, you just need to pass on, because there's no way that you'll ever be able to move forward with all that guilt. Like, all those stories, all those people that you're saving, like, if you take that personally, you would never be able to make it past a week, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just too much. And when that one quote where he was like, we're going to turn into the patients, and then we already have too many patients, so we can't have that. Yeah. Like, that was just Eli was so helpful for him. Like, I'm so glad that he befriended him, because he gave him a lot of good advice that he needed to hear, because he wasn't going to get it from anybody else.
Right. He gave him a lot of hope. He literally said, the things that can't be cured with ointment and splint is the things that kill us. And that really had hit home, because it's like, you have to, get help for the things that you can't internally heal from within by yourself. Like, it takes you talking to somebody about it, releasing that. Who knows, where he would have been had he harbored, all of that grief in his heart, and then harbored the fact that he just saved somebody who don't even like him. It's just a lot. And we saw how heavy he was. And for Eli to come in and lift that load off of him by just simply telling him, hand it off, was just like, wow. Like, people are really sent into your life for appointed times, and it helps you in life.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful moment.
It really was.
I loved every minute of it.
My favorite moment of the whole.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment of tonight too, because your boy Eli helped him out. And then, you want to know something though? He did tell him, he was like, "You're not that powerful." He's like, "You're not that powerful.
You're
just
not
shut
God.
off your ego. You can't handle everything. Just throw it away."
Yeah.
But I think that, because he did mention God, I think that if we really do trust God with some things, then we can tap into the power that He has for us, and we can be just as powerful as we want to be, because that's what Chim believes, and I think that's where he is in his head with it. But he does have to unload the things that weigh him down in that pursuit to be powerful, because you can't be powerful with all these things on you. Granted, you can throw them off, but the more things that keep tackling on you, if you don't throw them off ever, you're going to be weighed down in your power. So that was a beautiful moment. And then he ended it with, go give care.
Yes.
Go give care. And we usually out here be hearing people talk about, don't give a care about this, don't give a care about that. Yeah. Nobody care about nothing in the world, and I don't give too, But this man said, go give care. And I think that is a very valuable lesson to all of us, because we're not told that often. We told that we shouldn't care most of the time.
Yes.
So to go give care was a beautiful speech. So we end the episode with the woman who had the baby, who, the big explosion, all of that fire. The woman who life was saved in place of Kevin's comes to the 118's, what do they live in? Station. Yeah, fire station. They come to, I'm talking about what they live in, what they work at.
They do live there, basically.
Basically. So she comes to the fire station, and she wants to see Chim because he basically saved her life. And I'm thinking like maybe she missed it. Maybe she missed the fact that his best friend, you know, plunged his way into the fire for you. Like, I just don't.
Well, he's not here. So
I'm thinking
Yeah,
I'm thinking like maybe she just didn't want to mention it.
Yeah.
But she knew that, I feel like deep down in her heart, she knew that, yeah, it was Chim who was yelling at her and just so happened to comfort her once he fell in and, you know, saved her from, I guess, a backfire of whatever push he had. I think she realized that he was there for that, but she didn't see who gave up, you know, his life for her. And so I was really honored when Chim was just like, just name the baby Kevin.
Do you think that when he said he looks like a Kevin, do you think that she realized it at that point? That's the part I didn't know. Because she was like she smiled, but I wasn't sure if she was like, oh, Kevin's better. Because she didn't want to name her kid Howie. Because she was kind of like,
I don't know. I have absolutely no understanding for her whole transaction. Yeah, but it was great. And I felt like that was a load lifted off his shoulder on top of Tommy coming in and offering his friendship for his life being saved. So we get all these things working together, okay? So, guys, it is time for our news because we got some really important news. Yes, the show has been picked up for season 3.
I'm so excited.
And they released that today on Instagram, okay? Because I be stalking their Instagram. We are renewed for season 3, y'all. It's lit. So make sure y'all stay tuned in for everything we got coming up, okay? Because we going to be here season 3, too.
A lot more rescuing to do.
Yes, a lot more rescuing to do. So let's get into these predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What is your prediction for the next episode?
Dang. Because I heard them saying something in the previews about Maddie might die too, but I think that might have just been a trick. So I want to predict that Chim is going to live. Because that's what I want. And then Maddie's going to get out. She's going to like beat the crap out of her.
I second all of those predictions. I really do. Chim is going to live, you know. We in prayer for Chim, okay? Prayers up.
He can't go
because we're going to have to fight Ryan Murphy. So we're not letting Chim go. That's that. But I do believe all this is going to be over. And I'm still sticking to my prediction that Buck and Eddie is going to tag team Oh Boy. They either gonna kill him somehow, jump him, I don't know what they gonna do, but they gonna get him up out of here. But we gotta see next week for how that plays out. Until then, I am Porchia Carter. You can find me on all social media at Porchia Carter.
I'm Courtney Allen, and you can find me on Instagram at Courtney Ray Allen.
Thanks, guys. See y'all later.
Bye, guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.